What's going on, Skullbrains? Welcome to Skullbrain TV. My name is Scott, and in this episode, we are beginning our very first Ancestral Challenge. So, what is the Ancestral Challenge? Well, at the back of every single Ancestral Trail book, there was a page dedicated to challenges that you could solve throughout the issue. These included things like finding hidden little creatures, finding fragments of the Evil One's mask throughout the issue. They had these cards called the Monster and Magic cards, which were based on real-life myths. You could read them and then try and guess what the villain of the book was based on. They had pieces of the Ancestral World map that you could cut out and stick together, and they also had these little letter blocks that you could cut out, and once you had all 26, you were given a clue that would help you form a phrase that would give you a hint on how to destroy the Evil One's power. So, in these challenges, I'm going to give you what was at the back of each of the book before the episode is released, and as you're watching the episode, you can see if you can solve the challenges. Now, in the prologue, I gave you an image, and on that image there was a hidden fragment of the Evil One's mask. Were you able to find it? If not, this is where it was. If you found it, congratulations! Now let's get into the challenges for issue number 1. So, things to look out for in the pages. We have these two little creatures called Shumi and Shubi. They're friendly little creatures from the Ancestral world, and they're hidden throughout the pages of every single Ancestral Trail book. See if you can spot them in book number 1. There's also 2 fragments of the Evil One's mask hiding in the book somewhere, so keep an eye out for those. For the Monster and Magic cards, we have 2 creatures that you can read about and try and guess who Suma is based on. First, we have Scylla. Scylla's a creature from ancient Greece, and this here is her story. So have a listen. On sorcery worked in seas and rivers. On no account trust the cool tempting waters of rivers and streams, nor even the sparkling morning sea. By evil magic, a filter poured upon the waves can summon from the depths monsters that absorb their victims. With enormous bodies and 6 gaping sharp-fanged heads on long writhing necks, these monsters have strength beyond belief. No one can escape their cruel embrace. Thus the beautiful nymph Scylla was ensnared. A mighty sorceress who grew envious of Scylla brewed a magic potion of terrible potency. The filter glittered green as her jealousy, as she walked to the shore in the pale moonlight. Slowly she poured it upon the sleepy waters. In the morning, Scylla went to bathe in the sea. As soon as she waded in, the waves rose menacingly and turned a threatening green. Scylla screamed as the slimy sea congealed into a giant 6-headed snake. It slapped and grabbed at her face and body, pushing her towards the depths. As she fought against the writhing water, she saw her reflection in a glassy wave. She gave a long howl of fear and despair. She was now part of the monster. Even her voice was no longer human. Such is the dreadful danger that lurks in enchanted waters. Now a terrifying monster, Scylla was fated never to change back. Again and again she would rise from the sea to wreck passing ships, and she became feared by all who sailed the Mediterranean. So that's the first one. The next one is a creature from Africa, and this one is called the Nyanya. On magic skins and their properties. Great power is said to reside in the skin of the water monster called Nyanya. The beast is ugly and huge. Thick moss grows on its skin, and it is armed with long fangs and claws. Evil wizardry makes the pelt stick fast to anyone who wears it, and no amount of pulling or tearing will get rid of it. The skin must be taken from a freshly killed beast, and little can be done to break the spell. It is said that an evil king ordered his warriors to wrap his own daughter in the pelt of Nyanya. The warriors used guile to lure the beast out of the water. When the monster lunged towards them, they sank their sharpest spears into its heart. They knew they must not lose time. Quickly they stripped off its dark green skin and threw it on the struggling princess. No matter how hard she tugged and pulled, the slippery skin stayed put. It had become her own. Now her body was covered in moss. Her teeth were fangs, and her hands had become claws. On rare occasions, positive forces can be used. Thus did the girl break the spell. An old magician gave her an enchanted stick. With it she could regain her old shape when she bathed in the river. Though on land, she was still a monster. A prince chanced to see her change. He resolved to pay no attention to the way the princess looked out of the water. This strength of spirit rendered the evil harmless. The skin slipped off the girl's back. forever losing its power on her. So, there you go. As you watch episode 1, try and think who the villain is based on. In the pinned comment below, you can find a link to download this week's letter tokens. Keep them safe somewhere, and then, once we get all 26, we'll get the clue, and we'll try and figure out how to destroy the evil one's power. So, stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, and until then, stay skull-brained.